Hello everybody, this is Toy Reaper here, and today we're going to have another episode of Bedrock Edition Minecraft tutorial. And today it's going to be a lot lighter than the last one with the tree farm we had. This one is just going to be item transportation. Just a little information about items flowing through water, flowing over hoppers, getting items out of a chest and putting them where you want them, different water elevators, that sort of thing. It's going to be pretty simple, but it's one of the most useful things that I have found in the game. So the first thing we're going to cover is a hopper, because this is going to be your main thing for getting an item that's out in the world and getting it into a chest. So just, just bare bones here. We've got a chest, got a hopper in the back of it. If an item lands on top of that hopper, it's going in the chest. So with that being said, I've got this hopper locked so nothing will actually go into it, but I'm just going to show you the difference here, because the hopper, if it's in the dead center right there, it can pick it up. If it's on the outer edge right there, or on the corner right there, all of those are still going to get picked up. But the bone on the center of it, for the hitbox of the hopper, it's actually down inside of it. So if you have water flowing across this hopper, that bone's not going to get moved. The hopper and the chest will. I can show you that a little better up here, because this one here is just a plain Jane, just water stream going across the top of hoppers, which in Java Edition this has been fixed, and this should actually work from my understanding. I don't play on there, but from my understanding this would work, because items are supposed to float in the water, so you can see if this one's actually on the edge, but it would just float across and it would keep going along until it gets to one that's unlocked. But for us on Bedrock Edition, if I throw this right here dead center, it drops down into this hopper and it will get stuck there until it despawns. Because in theory, most of these you're probably going to have set up item sorters, and so you're going to want it to flow across all of them until it finds the right one. So there's a few solutions for that. One of the things you can do is for this here. First of all, for every 4 hoppers you have, you're going to want to put a piece of ice just to help keep it moving, because on the water, when it gets towards the last down here, it's barely moving. But with that being said, instead of having it coming in straight like this, if we come off to the side just a few blocks here, just like that, and then we have water flowing along there. When it does this right here, this is actually going to push it up against this wall over here to where it will be able to flow across these. So we throw this in there, it's going along the edge. You can see it goes slow, but it's going to get across all of them. It's going to slide across the ice, get picked up again, and it's going to keep going down until you get it to the hopper that you want it to go in. So this is one way. It's not using a whole lot of extra stuff. You can have it look just like anything else. You just want to make sure that you have it turned where it's getting pushed up against a wall. Now another option that we have is, instead of having the hoppers going down the middle, we're going to be looking at this side over here. If you have it flowing on the edge of this water stream right here, it's technically over those hoppers. So if it gets dropped here, those hoppers are going to pick it up. So let me see, I've got it down to this one right here. See, it'll still get picked up where it's at. And the way we do that is this chest, the hitbox of this chest is actually smaller than a full block. So if I put this chest right there, I can show you that I can walk around the side of this chest. It's because it doesn't take up the full block. You can look at the hitbox there and see there's a gap. So to demonstrate that, let's just come right here. We'll throw us a bone in there. It hits this chest, and now it's going fast. It's not going along the hoppers, so this item's able to pick up speed. This is probably my favorite one. Now, over these hoppers here, you don't have to have glass panes there. To me, that's the cheapest option that I found. You have to have something that is not the full width of these hoppers. Because if I were to get a full block right here and place that down, now watch what happens when we throw something in here. It gets pushed up against this chest, and naturally now it's not going to do it. But you can still see it wasn't able to hit any of these hoppers because the block kept it from doing it. I've actually done a lot of testing with this. Every other time that I've had it, it's come along here and it's hit this chest and it's gotten stuck next to the block. like that. But in theory, even if it does get past it, that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be in line with these hoppers. So you could come along the whole way here and just put chests the whole way down. But I have a feeling if you're doing this, you're already going to be using enough chests. You're not going to want to use all the wood. So anything that's not a full block like this will work fine as long as it hits the chest to begin with. You couldn't just have glass panes here, because if you had a glass pane there, whenever this goes down, it's going to get out of the water and it's going to get stuck over there. So that's an option. Now, if any of you do keep up with Java Edition, you know one of the fixes that they were able to find was that if you get sea pickles and you put 3 of them, it was either 2 or 3, I think it's 3. If you put 3 of them here, items are supposed to hit up against it, and then they'd be along this inner edge right here. However, for us, items we throw down don't interact with the pickles, they just keep going straight across. So that does not work for us. Now, an option we do have is once again using a chest. You have a waterlogged chest here, you're able to do the same thing as what you would have on the outside, except now it's going to be on this side. It comes along, it hits it, but it's more over these hoppers than it's in the water. So it's kind of like the one over there, where it's going to be slower, but it will still work. Now, out of all these, my favorite one by far is this right here. Your items are going to be going along fast. You don't have to worry about it bugging out, or whenever it gets unloaded, items being to where they're just going to stop. This right here is the fastest way. Items come along and they're flowing at regular speed, but they're still able to get picked up by the hoppers. So this is the way that I would recommend, but this way will work also. Now the next thing we're going to look at is how to raise items up and down. Now down, naturally all you need is just have the water items flow into something and fall down a hole. With that being said though, I will show you a little trick here. If you have items coming along, and let me just go ahead and make a new. So we have items coming along right here. Say we're going to have them fall down a big distance, and we want to make sure they all land in the exact same spot. The way you do that, this right here. This glass pane is flat on this side. So whenever the items come along, they're going to hit up against that, and they're all going to fall in the exact same spot. We can throw one on this side, one on that side, one right here. You'll be able to see all of those were close enough together to where they all stacked. No matter how far they fall, they're going to be falling straight down. They're losing all their momentum, so they're not going to land way out here. So that's something that I really like. I find pretty useful. So, but with that being said, lowering items is pretty easy. You just have them come off the end and you let them fall. Now raising items up, used to before 1.13, it was a dropper elevator. You had them going straight up and it was a ton of redstone. Now on the other hand, we have water. Now this center one here is source blocks on every block. It looks like it's flowing down, but it's not. But everyone's a source block. I can put this here. You can see that glass pane's waterlogged. It's a source block. So if I get something and I throw an item in here very carefully, very slowly, this item's going to float up. It will make it all the way to the top. It's just not moving fast. This side over here, all I did was just put a source block at the top. So now if I try and throw anything into here, it gets stuck at the bottom. The water's flowing down. That's not going to work. This one can work. This is what you're going to want to do though. You've got the soul sand down here. All you have to do is put a source block at the top, and for right now, which I'm pretty sure this is a bug, but with just a source block at the top, all of these get these bubbles in them, and now whenever I throw an item in here, it gets shot up to the top here. This is going to be the one that you're wanting to go with. Rather than standing here throwing them in there though, you're going to want your items to get thrown in there with a dropper. Do not use a dispenser, because you will forget. You'll put TNT in there, everything's getting blown up. Use a dropper. Now, that disclaimer out of the way, I'm going to show you two different methods that I use pretty regularly. They're both pretty compact. This one here, no observers. You just get a comparator coming out. You put a block behind it, comparator, put it in subtract mode, Repeater going into a block, redstone coming along, and then just put a block right here next to this dispenser. Now if I get any amount of items put in this dropper, it's going to continue to go off and it's going to shoot all of them out. All you do is just put that dispenser going into the side of this here, encase it in blocks. It's going to throw all your items in the water. They're going to follow the water. The other option here, which is, I've had that one break once or twice from unloading chunks. This one I've never had it break. You have a comparator here going into a block, redstone underneath it, and then a sticky piston with an observer facing up, one underneath the dropper facing down. Now watch what happens whenever I put some items in here. As soon as that comparator gets powered, this piston pushes the observer out. You've got a much faster clock here. And once again, it's just going to go along. It's going to throw all these items out. So this is the one that I use most. Whoops. Have not had a problem with it breaking unless I hit it. It's a lot faster. This is my choice. You can just hook this up, put the water right here in front of this dropper, and then you'll move it. So now that we've got how we're going to get the items out of wherever they are into a water elevator, into the water stream, the last thing is how to hook these two up together. Because if you tried to have a water elevator coming up through the top, I can just show you instead of trying to explain it, but it's not going to be as easy as what it sounds. Because if we put this here, put water up here at the top, all this is going to be a water elevator now, just like it was on the other end. So now we know that we've got this. We want to get the items to where they go to the side now. We want our items to come out of that, and we want them to come down here to the end, and we want them to fall off, and we're going to have some item collection down at the bottom. So we're just going to get us some water. We're going to put it right there. Except it's not, because there's a hole there, so it's going to stop. So now what you're going to have to do is, now that all those, you're going to have to come right here, put a block down to where the water can flow straight across. Now that you've got that, break this block back out, the water elevator begins to work again, and then you've got a water stream pushing it sideways. Now the last thing I will tell you is whenever it's coming up this water elevator, you do have a chance of it going off to the sides and getting stuck on the walls of this instead of just staying in the water. So what you're going to want to do is come right here and go ahead and cover up the spot where the water elevator is and one block on each side of it. Now when it comes up here, it's going to get trapped in this water and it's going to go this way. So we can see it goes up here, hits the glass, and now it comes over and it's going to fall right where we want it. Now the last thing I'm going to show you today is just one form of an item sorter that you can hook up to where you have these hoppers here. You can get you an item sorter hooked up to it. So what we're going to have is this is our chest that we're wanting to sort things into. So for each one, we're going to have one item, one item, one item. And that's how we're going to want it set up. So now we're going to get us a couple blocks here. Going to get us a full building block and then some form of a stair. Sky would be proud I'm using diorite. But let's go ahead and go one block above the chest, and we're going to have upside down stairs underneath those. Just like that. And this storage system, it's not going to interact with each other. You can have these right next to each other, and you can have it for as many items as you want. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come along and we're going to put a hopper here, here, and here. And it's got to be going into the block in front of it, just like that. So now the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to have a comparator right there with a block up. We're going to have a piece of glass, a block there, and then we are going to put a redstone torch on the side of this with a repeater. And then now all you need is redstone dust, because we're going to come put redstone dust right there. Alright, so now that we've got the redstone part of it hooked up, this is your item sorter, completely built, by the way. I'm just going to show you why we have it like this. You can't have a solid block here. The redstone torch would power it, which would then just cause it to burn out. Also, this is going to be your filter hopper. Normally, I'll just rename a group of items to filter or something, just so you don't accidentally put the item in there. Because if you put whatever item you have as the filter through your sorter, then your sorters are going to get broken because it's going to start pulling the wrong items through. But what you can do is you can come up here and fill up these last 4 slots. And now the way that I normally do that is you have 2 options. If you're going to have them spaced out like this, you can either come in here and just put 1 in each slot, or normally I'll just put 8. Then all you have to do is just put 13 items in the first one, and now your sorter there is set up. If I come up here and try and throw this block of quartz in, it's not going to go. If I throw this snow in, it's also not. There we go. Don't know what was happening there, but throw the snow in, it gets picked up, and now we've got these 2 pieces of snow. Our filter's back how we had it. So there's that. Now what I will tell you is, if you are going to have these to where you have another one set up right next to it, you do the redstone the exact same. The redstone dust is going to connect, but it's going to be fine. If you're going to have them right next to each other, though, you're going to have these 2 redstone torches here, and you're not going to want the signal from this one to turn the next one off. So what you would do for that is you're going to come up here and just put 1 in each slot. And then here, put this in there. I think it's 41. Yep. So now 41 of them in there. You can only put 23 items in. Now if I go ahead and I put all 23 of this snow into here, it's not turning this torch off. It's only got enough power to go to here. It can't go past there. Now, what would happen if we had it set up the way we did the first time? We get 8 in all these. Get 13 in this first spot. Well, now, that's what, 51 items that you can add in there? So let's go ahead and get 51. Now we throw 51 items in there. This torch is off, which means this one over here, the filter's now going through because it's not powered. This hopper's not locked anymore. So instead of just pulling that first item, it's going to start pulling the rest of them. But if you're going to have them spaced out, putting 8 of your filters in there and just putting 13 of these in the first spot will be perfectly fine. Then all you would do is just get all these hoppers hooked up with however you want to do your water streams, have it going across, and you'll be good to go. On the front, you wanted to have these half slab, you wanted to have the stairs because now you're able to open up these chests and get your items out of them. And also then you're going to be able to go along and you'll be able to hang item frames on the front of them to be able to show what kind of items that you have inside of it. But alright, that concludes today's tutorial on item transportation and a little bit of item sorting. I can go into more detail on a separate video on item sorting, but I do hope you enjoyed this. I do think this is one of the most beneficial things to understand and know in Minecraft, especially once you start getting farms. But if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like. If you really enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe. There will be more out just like it coming soon, more tutorials. So let me know in the comments what kind of tutorials you're interested in seeing. But until next time, have a good day and goodbye.